Good morning and welcome to the June current topic session. As a reminder, the current topic series is sort of a potpourri of topics that relate to your general development that should be currently relevant to your needs as healthcare providers. Some issues they might address are communication skills between physician and patient, overall improving the quality of your patient care, relating better to your colleagues or teaching your learners better. Today we have a wonderful session that relates to all of those issues and more. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence today. We have Kathy Trudgeon, who is here she told me the new name of Human Resources is Human Resources Education and Organization Development. And she's an HR and Education and Organizational Development Consultant.
That's correct.
Then.
Yep, all the way from Lexington.
All the way from Lexington.
My office sits at Stonewall, so early morning, but
oh my goodness.
Here,
Well,
ready to go.
welcome.
Yes.
And thank you.
Yes.
So please join me in welcoming Kathy Trudgeon.
we only have an hour and it will absolutely fly by. This is the coolest stuff I think I've ever learned and experienced, this emotional intelligence. How many of you have kind of heard of it before? Okay, good. It's so cool. I wish we really taught it in elementary school to our children. I think they would greatly benefit from that. But real quick, just a note, my background is, came to Lexington in 1985 and was a nurse, and the only opening they had was in the ICU. I said, I can't do that because I can't read those little monitors, and no siree, I'm blind and left-handed, I'll never get it. They said, oh yeah, you will. So I went ahead and took it and ended up really, really liking that. So now I finally left the bedside about after 25 years or so, and now teach similar to what you all do to help develop others, and go across all of the system within Carilion, Giles, Franklin, New River, you name it. Teach cardiac monitoring and communication skills, a lot of leadership classes. I even had we're supposed to just do a couple months of holding it together at Stonewall while they found a new nursing director. Then I held it together just for a little bit, and it ended up being almost a year, but I know now that's not for me. I don't have skin for it, but the lessons I learned are just tremendous. So a lot of information there. So hopefully you'll take away what I like to call takeaway tips, things you can stick right in your pocket and pull out the minute you walk out the door. The minute you start talking to family members, co-workers, mom-in-laws, daddy-in-laws, sisters, brothers, uncles, cousins, you name it, you can use it throughout every aspect of your life. So, here's what we're going to look at today. Definition and meaning. Demonstrate that one key word, that self-awareness of how you can start making your emotions work for you, personally and professionally, so in and outside of your work. Also, insight in how emotions guide your behaviors and those interactions with others, and the best thing, skills. Those takeaway tips. Y'all hear me back there? You know how you go to a lot of conferences or meetings and you talk about the philosophy of something. You leave there kind of, your spirit's a bit refreshed and you're thinking, oh, that's right, but you know, how do you do it? So they talk about it, but they don't really tell you how it should look and how to do it. So hopefully, I'll give you, I think you all, we know all this stuff, but it falls back here, and I want to bring it to the forefront of your mind to get kind of enrich it and so that you can be the best communicator that you can be. Because isn't it interesting that we do not spend any time routinely improving our communication like we should? I think we work on a lot of other things, but we leave communication kind of behind. So I challenge you to kind of put that in the forefront of your radar screen so that you can be the best communicator you can be. Sound like a plan? Okay. So research has validated how emotional intelligence is critical to our success, both personally and professionally. So I want to challenge you just for a second. We'll take 1 or 2 minutes. kind of talk with the person next to you and tell me, not looking at your phones or anything, just how would you define emotional intelligence, knowing what you know right now, no stress, just, in a nutshell, 1 or 2 sentences about how you define emotional intelligence, real quick. Then I'll ask someone, someone
That's exactly how I was. And then I
You're thinking of controlling your That's
Jules like to share what she came up with, the original definition of emotional intelligence. People skills, absolutely.
appropriate self-assessment.
Self-assessment, absolutely.
Yeah, so along with that, it's self-awareness.
Oh, yes, awareness is huge, absolutely. Anything else come to mind?
We talked about sort of monitoring the emotions, like sometimes not articulated emotions of yourself and others, and sort of recalibrating what you do based on.
Yes. And that's critical because it's one thing to manage this and another thing to manage that.
Right.
So you got yourself and you got others too. Absolutely. What else?
We were just going to say that, being mindful of the emotions of others.
Yes. That's right. Mindfulness, awareness. You kind of hear those as trigger words right now. It's really, really, really important. So here are some definitions that from many people that have studied emotional intelligence, written books on it. The capacity for recognizing, like you said, our own feelings, the feelings of others, motivating ourselves and managing emotions well in ourselves and our relationships. EI, emotional intelligence, you sometimes see it also as EQ, emotional quotient, as an array of personal management and social skills that allows one to succeed in the workplace and life in general, and then the ability to be aware of one's own feelings, others, differentiate among them, and then use that information to guide one's thinking and behavior. So this is an interesting thought. Most people tend to think that our success seems to hinge on our logical intelligence, our book smarts, rather than anything that we do with our emotions. We think that's true. And I like to kind of think about it based on IQ versus EQ. Okay, IQ versus EQ. Because I remember being a young ICU nurse back in the day. Some of the people that I met around me in the interdisciplinary team were brilliantly smart, brilliant people. And I never could put my finger on it, but they could not get along with people. They could stick an artery blindfolded. They were so skilled, so technically skilled today, they could just do anything. But when it came to interactions with the team, they couldn't get along. And back then, I recognized it, but I didn't really know what to call it. And it really has to do a lot with that whole concept of, like we said, people skills, social skills, that awareness of how you're saying what you say, all that stuff has to do with your emotional intelligence. So, I saw this little clip at a conference or something I went to, and it talked about IQ versus EQ based on Emily Starrett's data. And it says IQ, well, your book smarts can help you be successful to the extent of about 25% of the time. And the remaining 75% rest on your emotional intelligence. Isn't that something? That is huge. And I like to think of, I'm kind of a visual person, so think about this boat on the water. And if you are able to make sure your boat is in tip-top shape to float, you're going to make sure you got gas in the engine, make sure you have paddles and life preservers, and you don't have any holes or leaking or cracking, or make sure your belts are doing the right thing, all that kind of stuff, to keep your boat working. But if you're not careful and you don't navigate those waters and think about, are there icebergs ahead? Is a storm coming? Where might I pull off to refuel? You'll end up shipwrecked, not because you didn't have a working vessel, a great running ship, because you were not able to navigate those waters. And I was thinking, I get that. Easier said than done, I think. I think we know this, but sometimes our emotions overwhelm us, and that's when we do and say things we wish we would not have done. So, have you ever heard people, or sometimes I'll admit, I'll be walking down the hall, and I'll see somebody maybe in the back of the room there coming towards me, and I'm like, uh-oh. I could just feel it. My emotions just start to bubble up. And it's like they're pushing my buttons. You ever heard people say, boy, I'll tell you, that person pushes my buttons. Where are your buttons? Where are they? They're in your brain. And so when I saw this, I thought, I've got to tell the world about this. Because this is what happens. And I know we know this, but it's kind of, when I put a visual to it, kind of stuck. And that was my launch on this journey of emotional intelligence, because it gave me permission to be human. I know that sounds a little odd, but watch this. Everything that we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch comes in, if you will, to the base of our brain as an impulse, kind of our brainstem. It's the lowest functioning part of our brain. It's a part of our brain that tells our heart to beat and our lungs to breathe without any thought whatsoever. That impulse, if you will, is headed for your neocortex. Your neocortex, your thinking, logical, rational brain. The trouble is, it has to pass through this middle section called the amygdala, where emotions are produced. So it looks like this. Impulse comes in, stops at the emotional center, or where emotions are produced, and depending on your past history, your life experiences, it may stack up to be a 3 or 4 or 10 or 12, because everybody's a little different. What I might feel emotionally, you might not feel, and vice versa. So it's different for everybody. So let's just say it's a 4 for this particular day. And now this is heading for my neocortex. Boom, it gets there. And how in the world can you think straight if your neocortex is completely clouded with all of these emotions? Are you going to think straight? Are you going to do and say things maybe as sharp and clear as your neocortex?
That's something. That's too many emotions.
I think that's called floppy brain syndrome. That's called floppy brain syndrome. It happens. So I think this couldn't take the heat of the car. I should tell you the story about how I made this, but I'll save that for later. But anyway, floppy brain over here. Now, when you get so many emotions, kind of collectively in your neocortex, you're not going to think clearly. And so when I realized that, all of a sudden I realized it's okay to be emotional. That makes us human. That's normal. It's that awareness that allows you to realize that. So we feel before we think. We feel before we think. And there's nothing we can do about this. This is the way we are hardwired. But what we can do is think about how we are going to respond to things rather than react. And realize if you're smart enough, if you are working on your emotional intelligence, you can build emotional intelligence. IQ tends to be set, but emotional intelligence can be improved if you're willing to go on the journey. Making sense? Okay. And I think it's stuff we know, but for some reason when you see it like that, it's like, okay, I realize now. And then you kind of realize, oh my gosh, that's a trigger for me. And when I find out something really is a trigger for me, or for you, that means it's kind of like, take note. You know, maybe there's something underneath in that you might need to kind of evaluate or analyze or assess and think about that so that you can continue to improve your relationships with others. You know how the Williams, the girls that play tennis, you know, the ball goes on the line or something, they throw an absolute fit right there. That's like I call it emotional hijacking. When you do it say things in the heat of the moment that you later regret, that's absolute loss. Your emotions then dictate how you behave rather than your neocortex, your thinking, logical, rational brain. Now, have you ever gone to bed at night worried to death about something, you wake up the next morning and it's not that bad? That's because your emotions dissipate and your logical brain comes through and starts to show you the light if you would just give it a chance to do that. Isn't that the coolest thing? Okay, so we feel before we think, and basically our core emotions come from 5 feelings: happy, sad, angry, afraid, and ashamed. And then one of the books I read, and I did this one time, but it took me so long, there must have been 400 emotions that I put on little cards and just put all over the room. It's amazing how, because there's intensities of these main emotions right here. You can be elated, or you can just be a little bit happy. You can be furious, or you can be a little touchy. So there's all these different variations as well of these emotions. So thinking about going forward in your life, kind of tuning in to spot tendencies and triggers and avoid those emotional hijackings. Now, to be emotionally intelligent, and this is like in a nutshell because we only have an hour today, but basically to be competent or to have that full awareness of emotional intelligence, it's important to have it with yourself, like we said just a little bit ago, your self-awareness and your self-management, and then also reaching out to others with your social awareness and your relationship management. So we're going to take a look at all 4 of these quadrants. So self-awareness, it has to do with you first. Kind of think of that as a foundation for everything else. And I guess the biggest takeaway here would be let your emotions become data for you. Just keep it simple. Let your emotions become data for you. And I remember sitting in the seat where you're in. I was at a conference and I thought, okay, I'm going to let my emotions become data. I thought, but I don't think I really got it until one day I was in that other job as director of nursing, and I thought, I had to have a talk with one of the managers of Med-Surg about something that needed to look a little different. And so I got to Stonewall at about, I don't know, 8 o'clock-ish. She was already there because I could see her car in the employee parking lot empty. She wasn't in there. She was already in her office. I'm walking in to Stonewall, and I look over at her car. This is a lady I got to have a talk with at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And all of a sudden I felt ill, heart, like it was pumping out I broke out in a sweat. I felt like I was getting streaks down, and I thought, my gosh, Kathy, you must be coming down with the flu. I said to myself, well, I don't feel like I hadn't feel bad when I got up. I thought, isn't that interesting? I feel horrible now. And I thought, well, you didn't feel horrible till you looked over there at that car. And I thought, okay, well, then don't look at the car. So I look over at the car, just an overwhelmed feeling of doom. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not getting the flu. I'm having an emotional reaction. My emotions are trying to tell me something. So I get to my office, and I said to my friend, I said, you come here a second. I need your help. She said, okay. And I said, I'll be me and you be her. And let me rehearse this conversation I'm going to have this afternoon. And so we rehearsed, and she looked at me and said, Kathy, you say that church is louder than I feel upside the head. Oh my gosh. I said, well, I won't say it like that. So I resurrected how I was going to say what I was going to say to her. And that meeting went so much better than it could have because I listened to my emotions. They were trying to tell me something. I was not ready for that. But I don't know if I wouldn't have realized emotions can become data for you, whether I would have tuned in at that sharply or not. So really important to think about your self-awareness. Now, I want you to do this with me. S-I-L-K spells silk. Let's say it together 5 times. Silk, 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 silk. Cows drink water. Now, let's do another one. F-O-L-K spells, careful with this one. Folk. Let's say it together 5 times. Folk, 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 folk. The white of an egg is called a now. A lot of people see, but what happens to us is we walk around kind of, well, first of all, cows drink what? Water. And the white of an egg is called the white of an egg. So, but my point being is that we just kind of follow along in life, don't we? We're walking around like yoke, silk, bulk. You know, we're just hypnotized. We're not tuned in, we're not mindful, we're not aware. So it's just that shift in that thinking that can really launch you on your journey to emotional intelligence. So self-awareness has to do with you first. What do some of you experience when your emotions flare? What happens to your body physically? Heartbeat. Sometimes I feel like the people can see it. It feels like it's beating so hard. What else? What happens to you? Sweat?
Flushed.
Flushed. Oh, yeah. I saw one lady, George Commission was there, and I said, she had to give the beginning presentation. I said, are you nervous? She said, no. She had a streak that started here and went down here. It was just, that's where you wear your emotions on your sleeve comes from, that saying, because people can see it. What else happens to you? Sick feeling? Yes. Nausea, sick feeling? Yes. Anything else? Some people, my palms tend to sweat. But those are the kind of things that you can tune into to realize that, you know, your emotions are stirring somewhat. And if you kind of tune into that and realize, you know, I have a choice now. I can choose to respond or I can react. And because your emotions will overwhelm you so quick, you know, go forward from here and watch that. It's fascinating. It's almost like it's faster than adrenaline. It's just amazing. So it has to do with you first. Okay. Next is self-management. So we're still talking about ourselves. So finding ways to manage those disturbing emotions and impulses and channel them into useful ways. Now, I need one volunteer. Halfway through, come on. Halfway
Good
through.
fun.
Patrol military folks who could be volunteers.
Claudia. Okay. What I'm going to get you to do is, as fast as you can, I want you to squeeze this toothpaste out of this tube. I'm onto this rose right here. Completely in. Completely in. But not till I say go. Okay?
Oh.
'Cause I'm going to time it.
And it doesn't matter how.
Well, as long as you can kind of get it done.
Is it open? It's not open. You're tricking me.
Now, and what I want you all to do is cheer her on, because I'm going to see if she can beat the record that we have set.
I'm thinking about somebody.
On your mark, get set, go! Go, 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 go.
You can do it. Yeah, faster, faster.
Well done.
I was squeezing somebody. It felt good.
Wait a minute, wait, I want you to put it back.
It's too late now. You know that.
Could you put it back? If I give you maybe a scalpel or a syringe or a tongue blade or Take-
Never complete.
Will this ever look the same?
No.
I think that's a life lesson here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I tell you, as simple as this was huge, because I'm thinking, in the heat of the moment, when we squeeze a toothpaste, we do and say things that we later regret, and then you try to put it back, and it's hard to put it back, and just remember, it never is gonna look the same as you started out with. It's just crumpled up, and you damage relationships. So, what I do, and you might say this might work for you, but everybody has to find their own thing. Sometimes when I perceive people to be pushing my buttons, okay, I imagine floating over the top of their head that little travel-sized toothpaste that you see in like Walmart. And I say to myself, Kathy, do not squeeze the toothpaste. No, don't squeeze it. And that's kind of how I have to focus so intensely so that I don't do and say things in the heat of the moment that I later regret. So that really can help you think about the message you're going to make if you squeeze that toothpaste. So self-management takes all of these into account. Openly admitting mistakes, adapting to new challenges, juggling demands, rolling with the punches. Don't we do this all the time in our daily job? Sometimes it feels like it overwhelms us a bit, but with each other we can get through just about anything. And one I really particularly like to see others positively, find one thing about everybody, one positive thing, and watch what happens to how your outlook shifts. It's amazing what that can do for you. And also with self-management, have you ever heard of speaking from the I perspective? Have you heard of that? Speaking from the I perspective? What that means is instead of beginning with a sentence, perhaps you need to, watch your finger come out. Like I look at my son, I'm like, Joshua, you need to take a trash out. Just pop that. Versus beginning sentences with an I statement. I would like, I'm curious, I noticed. It kind of puts a rainbow of hope over things, and also you own your statements. Now sometimes, like a code blue or something issue like that, you may need to say, you need to push an hand for this or that. That's the case there. But in normal routine conversations, when you begin a sentence with the word I, it shifts it and it changes how it falls on the ears of the listener. If I tell you, you need to take that patient in room 3 versus, hey, I'd like for you to take the patient coming from the ED in room 3. Even if you change your tonality somewhat, it still falls on the listener so much better. So that's a huge takeaway tip. Okay, so we got emotions. Let your emotions become data. Try to figure out what your triggers are. Notice when your emotions flare. Think about how you're not going to squeeze the toothpaste so you don't damage relationships. Okay? And then also think about, and this is huge, I think we know this, but I want you to go out and as you kind of go through your life and experience things, notice, catch yourself. What is the story you're telling yourself? Because oftentimes the story we are telling ourselves is not the case. Like a high percentage in the 90s, it's not correct. And it can really affect your emotional being as well. Like coming down 81 as much as I do, coming and going all over the place. This gentleman pulled up behind me on 81, and I mean right on my, bumper over. I look in the rearview mirror and I'm like, I am ready to gesture out the window and say cuss words. Just like, having known the gentleman for a half a second, I'm like, you hit it, you buying it. I mean, I'm carrying on. Road rage type, I'm like, well, Kathy, why don't you practice your emotional intelligence? I'm like, can't do it. But I thought, yeah, you can. Because what is the story you're telling yourself? I thought, well, that he is a jerk. And I said, shift it to something, because that might not be the case. But don't we think we know everything? That might not be the case. So I said to myself, better pull over, Kathy, and get out of this nice gentleman's way, because his wife's in that back seat, got to have that baby, and you want to help her get to the hospital. hospital. So I pulled over. He went by, and instead of gesturing, I said, hope it's healthy. And on he goes. I thought, okay. It was like 3 seconds. It felt like a lifetime. But it was just, sometimes the story you tell yourself, check to see, are your observations accurate? Maybe you need to have a discussion. Maybe you need to talk about that assessment and what you gathered. And am I on track or am I off base? And give it a chance that way so that you develop healthy relationships and you don't ruin with how you say what you say. So really important. See, one thing positive about everybody, develop an awareness to speak from the I perspective. I'm curious. I noticed those kind of things. Really helps funnel that energy into the right direction rather than in the wrong direction. And kind of do what you need to do. Like I just imagine that little toothpaste floating over people when I sense my buttons being pushed. Sometimes people will step back and they fold their hands. You see parents saying 1, 2, trying to get a grip on that. Whatever you need to do, practice that because it will really come in handy. And sometimes I just say, I'm really emotional right now. And I know better than to discuss this. So I want to meet tomorrow at 1 o'clock so we can have a great discussion. Let me get a good night's sleep and let's maybe talk about it tomorrow. And you just, you don't damage relationships. Questions so far? Okay. All righty. Gotta make sure there's nothing else I forget to tell you. Okay. And social awareness, now we are reaching out to others. We just talked a little bit about our self-management, our self-awareness, and now we're out there thinking about sensing others' emotions, understanding their perspective, and taking an active interest in their concerns. And it takes into an account all of these ingredients. And I kind of struggled a little bit with, especially when you think about listening, empathy and sympathy, and I'm like, But I read this little story that kind of explained it really well. This lady was pregnant. She's due to have this baby any day now. She's in terrible pain. And she said, oh my gosh, I'm in terrible pain. Get ready to have this baby. And she turns to her significant other and says, help, can you help me? And the significant other says, yeah, I know what you mean. I hurt my back one time. That's like sympathy, kind of all about this person. Versus pregnant lady going, oh my gosh, I'm in the worst pain I've ever been in my life. Help me. And the significant other says, oh my gosh, maybe you should lay on your left side. What if we put a pillow between your legs? Maybe a warm compress to your back. See the difference, how that feels? It's all about understanding and feeling for that person and taking kind of yourself out of it. Now, a lot of times, think about when your body language is saying one thing and your words are saying another, which one do you believe? Body language saying one thing, words saying another. Which one do you believe? Body language. See, don't we know that? It's so powerful. Our body language will tell on us. And you have to have that awareness that even though you might try to hide that, it's going to come out and your body language will speak volumes. So the most open your body language can be is palms exposed. I bet you do that and didn't even realize it. Like, hey, how you doing? That's kind of an open. What about this? What's his name? Go away. What else? Not listening. What else? Cold. Charades. But yeah, so a lot of times, and see, an emotionally intelligent person has that awareness. So if you're coming up and you say, Kathy, I got to tell you something, and I say, yeah, I heard you were looking for me, what's up? When you're emotionally intelligent, you realize he may be thinking that I'm not interested. So I clear it up before there's any misinterpretation. And I say, gosh, I'm interested in everything you have to say. How are you freezing to death? And then we have the conversation. Because oftentimes, when you know it, he'll leave the conversation. Well, she wasn't interested in what I had to say. She just sealed off and he didn't care. So it's interesting how your body language will tell on you. So kind of become aware of your body language because it speaks volumes. What about the eye roll? What's that say? Dismissing it. Right? Do y'all remember Charlotte Hubbard? Any of you? She just retired, but when we onboarded at Stonewall and we became really nice, she she taught me to my role as a consultant. And anyway, she said, Kathy, she asked me, how's Carson doing? I said, Carson, he's okay. And then she came back another couple of days later, and she said, Kathy, do you realize every time you say Carson, you roll your eyes? I'm like, Carson, no, I don't. So I had to kind of look underneath of that to see what was going on with that, because it was telling on me. You know, it can be just so telling. So be careful about that matching up. Have y'all heard of the toad reading? I had never heard of it either. But anyway, I'll tell you the little story is, I had to go to this little get-together in the neighborhood that the ladies were having. Of course, working all the time, I couldn't make anything, so I had to stop by Kentucky Fried Chicken and pick up the chicken. And so I get my chicken and I go into the house and they're all over here talking. I put my chicken down, standing there, and the lady having the party, she said, hey Kathy, how you doing? I said, well, I'm doing all right, so I'm going to take my chicken and head on home. Just like that. I thought, now wait a minute, now what are you doing? So then she says, haven't seen you in a while, you doing okay? But yeah, because I'm going to walk right on up out here with this chicken. So I'm leaving. And I'm like, no, what is it? What I was not getting was a toe reading. If she would have taken her toe and said, hey, how you doing? Hadn't seen you in a while. Opened up her body language to greet me that way versus, can you feel it? Hey, hope y'all enjoy your steak. You know, you're kind of like halfway doing it. So when you toe read and talk to people, it's so powerful. You know, when you give them your full attention, your open body language. I thought, this is really cool. So I had to come to this very room probably 5 years ago. Didn't know anybody, being at kind of a Stonewall. And they said, Kathy, you got to get out there and meet some of these people. I said, I got just the thing. I'm going to toe read everybody. So I'm like, hi, how you? Hi, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? Hi. They're like, that boy's crazy. So don't overdo it. But definitely don't get. So you know, it's kind of interesting. Find someone you trust maybe to help you. You know, if you're wondering how you're coming across, your body language is in the chat. You know, think about that. I even had an experience. You know, when you teach cardiac monitoring, the little things are so tiny, teeny, tiny, and I can't see much anymore. And so I was teaching the cardiac monitoring class, and one of the students wrote on my evaluation, Kathy looked over her glasses instead of through them. So I think she thought maybe I was like, y'all gonna learn this here today. If it's a last, you know, that kind of thing. That's not what I was trying to do. So now I have to begin the class saying, I'm not trying to be, you know, looking like I know everything. I just can't see it. So don't hold it against me. So it's so amazing how people will take interpretations and completely wrap it around a story that they're telling themselves. It takes it, the relationship in completely different ways. And one more little takeaway tip too. Think about when your body language is not matching your spoken word, it means that there is an issue underneath of it. And the longer that you go not really assessing or evaluating that, the worse that can snowball and eventually erupt. Because I know one time I experienced I asked one of the nurses on the OB area to help with med surg. Just a little bit, about an hour and a half until they get through their morning care. She said, sure, Kathy, not a problem. Oh my goodness, I think we do have a problem here. Would you agree? Body language was saying one thing, words were saying another. So she shoots off with the med surg floor, and I caught her in the hallway. And I said, and you know what she said? I said, I just wanted to start crying and run. I thought, no. I said, use your skills, Kathy, use your skills. I could not think of one thing. Not one thing. You ever had that happen to you? It's like, you know, better, but you can't do that. Because see, I was so flooded with all this right here, nothing came shining through, and I was like, only thing I could say is, your body language is not matching your words. That's the only thing that I could utter at the time. And then tears started falling, and she had lost her dog that morning, and it wasn't, I said, that wasn't like you. So I said, let's take a walk. She kind of got herself together, and then came to the floor, sincerely, authentically tied to her heartstrings, saying, oh, I'm here to help. What would you like to do? You're just amazing. Where if I wouldn't have done that, or caught that disconnect, she would have walked over there. What do you want me to get? And before you know it, everybody's upset. Contagious as it gets. Disrupts your whole day. So try to think about tuning in so that you can use those catches when things aren't matching to realize something might be underneath that needs further exploration. Okay. Relationship. Let's see. Another thing too is another note to be aware of, and this is stuff we know, but I think it's refreshing to our spirit and soul to kind of reference this. Think about your tonality, because sometimes if you put a ray over things, kind of how you put your different inflections into your sentences, you know? Like you can just say, how may I help you? How may I help you? How may I help you? I mean, feel the difference in everything you say. How you put your tonality in there can really make or break a situation. And I remember trying this one time, and I thought, I don't know about that. I'm kind of skeptical until I try these things out on my own. So I hope you do the same thing, because Eddie wants I'm telling you something. You just pull this stuff. But I remember one of the supervisors would come in to the ICU, and she said, you know, this is how she didn't have an awareness of how her tone came across. It was kind of like, anybody want to go to lunch? And I'm in the back of the ICU doing some charting or something. And the nurses look up and they said, we don't have time to go to lunch. She said, well, lunch is really good. They're having taco salads and they're really great. They're like, no, not today. So I got up, I was like, just dragged, I said, well, I'll see y'all later. I mean, it was just so, ugh. So I said, come here, man, I want to work on something. So we had to wait till, she worked again, wait till we had taco salads. And sure enough, the day comes, and I'm kind of rehearsing with her. She walks in there, she said, anybody want to go to lunch? And the people looked up, and their head must have turned around 2 times, because they didn't even know who it was, because that was so different from her. They're like, well, yeah, I think we will. So I had taco salads, and they're really good. They're like, okay. So your tonality really has a lot to say about you as well. Okay, any questions so far? All right. And feel free to get drinks or nibble on anything, it's fine. Think about perspective as well. What do you see here?
Face.
Face? Everybody see a face? Somebody said liar. You see the word liar? Kind of turn sideways, it's L-I-A-R. But see, emotionally intelligent people will tune in to say, what are you seeing? They just don't assume that you're seeing what I see. So it's that, you know, kind of with the arms crossed, it's that tuning in and checking in and that awareness, that mindfulness to see if I am on track or not. That really is the distinction of emotionally intelligent people. Now I want to play another little quick thing with you right here. Tell me how many F's do you see in this sentence? F's, the letter F. How many see 3? Okay. How many see 4? How many see 5? How many see 6? All right. You know what it is? How did you do that, Sylvia? Did you know that, just have it, he's just, see? What happens is your brain sees the word of as a V. Unless you've got that really keen eye to see.
Totally
Isn't that cool?
totally missed it.
And so that's just kind of how neat your and how deep your perspective can run sometimes. Okay. Lastly, relationship management, very important section here. This is being able to handle people's emotions and move them in the right direction. It takes into account all of these: guide, motivate, and influence others, and notice the details. I like to call this is a huge takeaway tip, giving detailed thank yous versus hollow thank yous. There's not anything wrong with a hollow thank you. Thank you, you're welcome. But detailed thank yous are really, really cool because behavior that you reinforce will increase. So let's say that you give me this report and I say, oh, okay, this is the report for me? Oh, great report, thank you, you say. No, not a thing wrong with that, very courteous, very polite. Another better way to do it is to say, oh, is this my report you made? Nice, I like the way you number the pages. I really think it's a good idea that you put some color in it. And I like the way that you, on the back here, put when our staff meeting is and who the call and get able to make it and where the stuff's going to be posted. Great job. Thank you very much. I bet you $20 I'll get that next time and so much more. Because behavior that's reinforced will increase. It takes time to notice a detail. You have to walk around and notice it. You just can't kind of go down the halls and back and forth. You got to notice the good things that you want to see again and again and again and again. And then give that detail back to people. It's incredible. And sometimes a little trick I do is I put like 3 pennies in this pocket because I make a promise to myself I'm going to give 3 detailed thank yous today. And 1 penny will go over here. Sometimes I go home with 3 pennies still here. It just, the effort that it takes sometimes to make a difference is huge. But I was a little skeptical of the value of detailed thank yous because behavior that's reinforced will increase. Then also, let's say now I need to talk with you about something that needs to look a little bit different. Might you give me more attention or maybe more time? Sure, because I'm able to notice the good things that he's done that were really helpful. So I tried this on my son. I had washed me on the back of my car filthy. So I said to him, I didn't say, Josh, well, you need to wash your car. He smiled and still feels the same way. I said, Joshua, I would like for you to wash the car, it's filthy. And he said, okay, Mom. So he goes out there, and I'm just walking back and forth in the living room. I cannot wait to give him detailed thank yous. So he hollers in the house, Mom, I washed the car. I said, thank you, sugar. He's gone. I said, well, I declare. I was going to give detailed thank yous. See, you just get so caught up in what you've always done. You do what you've always done. So I said, well, 3 months later, wash me on the car again. So I said, Joshua, I want you to wash the car, sugar. He said, all right, Mom. I said, now, I'm not going to forget it this time. So I waited and waited and waited. He hollered in, Mom, I washed the car. I said, wait a minute, sugar. Oh my gosh, look at this car, it's so shiny. I can see myself in the glass and the tires are so black. And, oh gosh, Josh, it even smells good. Thank you, sugar. He puffed up like a bullfrog. He said, you're welcome, Mama. And I'm going to tell you right now, 2 weeks later, that child walked in the house and said, Mama, is it time to wash the car? I said, I've got to scream this from the rooftops because this is huge. So behavior that's reinforced will increase, but you've got to take the time to notice it and do it. A couple more takeaway tips here. Overcome barriers to change. Ask how so, or what would it take? Such a simple little thing. How so? 2 little words. What that does is how so gets at the behaviors rather than a judgment. Like sometimes people would say, oh, you know Carson, Kathy, he's lazy. And I'd say, really? I didn't want to agree because I've seen him not be lazy, and then I didn't want to disagree because I've seen him, and I thought, I don't know really how to get myself out of this. So I said, how so? And then they're like, Kathy, Carson, crazy. I'm like, Exactly. Now, if they would have said, well, he never takes on new hires, he doesn't come back from lunch on time, he won't put stock away at night, we think he's lazy. Then the next thing out your mouth is, how can we help him with that? I love the how, what, when, where, open-ended sentences, words, gives you so much more information. Careful with the word why, because why is a very research-based question, really good for clinical research questions, but for general conversations, I think we're not catching ourselves or not mindful of how that falls on the ears of others. Why makes people feel as though they have to give an explanation to support their rationale sometimes with day-to-day, routine kind of things. You can say, help me understand that a little bit better. Or tell me what I'm not seeing. Can you feel that? You say why, then people feel like so they have to defend it. And I think we're just saying it because we're not even thinking about how we say what we say. So it's real important about how you say what you say. My most favorite one in the world is what would it take? What will it take? It allows people to dream, come up with their own solutions. You're not telling them the answer. What would it take? And I use that all the time, and it's amazing. People will come to me, I guess, to fix it all the time. And sometimes you have to, sometimes you can allow some. Sometimes people have the answers within them, like 80% of the time. They really know what they're wanting. And so, just kind of redirect it back. What do you think it would take? Well, I don't know. Say, well, I don't know either, but let's talk about it tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So it's kind of an interesting concept. What would it take? And redirect energy toward a shared vision. No longer tolerate, and this one's huge. That's just how I am. A lot of people walk around in life and it's an excuse. They'll say, that's just how I am. And I say now, no, that's how you're choosing to be, and now I'm getting what I tolerate. What you permit, you promote, get what you tolerate. Sometimes just that saying that in your own self-talk or in your mind's eye, you can think about, that if something's irritating you that so bad, sometimes say to yourself, you're getting what you tolerate. So until you step up and do something about it, you're going to continue to get it. Feel that? It's just kind of a vicious cycle, isn't it? And oftentimes our emotions are intertwined in that so deeply that we'll just say, that's just how I am. And then sometimes you have to say, well, it's a choice, and here's some other ways your behavior could look. And you have to help people realize it can look different. It's very interesting. Also, seek feedback. With feedback, think about take it, leave it, or make a change. That's how I sum up feedback in a nutshell. Take it, leave it, or make a change. And then also think before you speak. Easier said than done, but that's this. And when you squeeze it, you damage the relationships. You can't really put it back. So it's best to think before you speak and not ruin your relationships. So, clicker. Any questions about this? A lot of takeaway tips. So basically, just increase your awareness, that mindfulness. Get your antennas out there, if you will. Take it in, feel it, check on it, validate it, assess it constantly, every single day. You get better and better and better. The more you practice emotional intelligence, the more it sticks and the better you get. Okay? Catch yourself, kind of rise up and watch yourself. Like, are you proud of how you're behaving? Sometimes I just imagine myself floating up and staring down, and I'm not happy with what that's looking like. But it's that perspective, that different perspective. Step back, choose to respond rather than react. But just realize, start with, gosh, I have a choice. I didn't realize that. Sometimes we don't even think like that. So realize you have a choice in how you're going to behave. Think on it, count to 10. Let your emotions dissipate so that your thinking, logical, rational neocortex can come through shining for you. Speak from the I perspective. I'm curious. I notice. I would like. Tune into what your body language is saying, what others are saying as far as their body language goes. See if there's any disconnect. Practice listening. Listening is a hard skill. It is Because most of the time, you're anxiously waiting to talk. So listening is I think we are taught to listen to agree or disagree rather than to understand. So shift their thinking a little bit to listen, begin to listen to understand rather than agree or disagree. Pretty cool stuff. Be curious. I love to stay in a place of curiosity with all kinds of, my most favorite questions are how and what questions. You can't go wrong with how and what. I'm just coming back from trying to be a certified coach, and that's basically the whole class, was asking how and what. And you help people self-discover what the answers might be, how and what questions. What would it take? How so drives at the behavior that you can change rather than a judgment. Carson's lazy versus he's not doing this, that, and the other, so we're going to get him to that point. And then also think about your toleration level. In other words, you get what you tolerate. A lot of people are under the assumption that that's just how I am, but no, that's how they're choosing to be. And let me help you with that just a little bit and how that can look a little bit different. And then my most favorite, give detailed thanks. Notice the details on the things that you want to see again and again, and that will come back to you tenfold. And of course, network with each other, use each other as helpers. Sometimes I have a good friend that she can see when I'm emotionally beginning to surge a bit. And she'll say, Kathy, I can take it from here. I'm like, thank you. Because I was about to blow, So she, kind of could read each other enough to really help you with some of those button-pushing situations that you may come across. It takes effort, practice, doing it, reflection. Wake up and learn from yesterday. What can I look do different today? And practice. So I'm hoping that you all have had some takeaway tips that you can kind of begin this wonderful day with, things you can use in your home and your professional life. So you all have been a wonderful audience. Your eye contact was superb. Nobody fell asleep. Paid attention. You laughed. You had fun. I'm giving you detailed thank you, so maybe you'll have me back again. All right, thank you all very much.